Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Starlit Shelf, where we celebrate books and stories and the authors who bring them to life. Today, we have Mercedes Koefoed, author of When the Portals Open, joining us today to talk about her book. Thank you so much, Mercedes, for being here. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here too. I'm so
I know
excited.
I know. So Sadie and I have, and I call her Sadie because I talk to her fairly often. But Sadie and I have been talking for almost like a year. I feel like we've been talking. And I remember one of the first times I reached out to her was because I noticed I think it was either your stories or in a comment or something, but she had replaced the capital A with the Deathly Hollows. Thought that was so cool. That was like so creative. And I was like, how did you do that? Sadie, you just had your release party yesterday. Yesterday was your book release day. How did that go?
It went swimmingly. I'm still processing how amazing it was. We had way more people than I was expecting, and the bookstore sold out of their copies. I sold out of my copies and had to send my husband back home for the remainder of the copies that I had, and then we sold out of those.
My gosh.
Yeah, so it was really, really neat.
I feel like it's your first book, it's your first release party. I mean, I feel like I would be nervous that no one would show up and that I wouldn't sell anything. And so for you to have a big party and to not only sell it once but twice. So that's absolutely incredible. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm so proud too. And like I said, I'm still trying to process it all. I even had one of my old dance teachers showed up she said, I wanted to be there to talk your ear off just in case nobody was there so that you wouldn't notice.
That's so nice. I love it when you have that support group that are just like they're your ride or dies. Like they're always going to be behind you and they're going to make sure that that kind of situation doesn't happen.
Yes.
So let's talk about your book. So do you want to give the our listeners a little synopsis or what to expect from your book?
I know I'm not the only author that struggles with this, so I'm glad that it's hard, but it is a fantasy. I It's a closed door, just so everybody knows. I tried very, very hard to write the open door and I just couldn't get it out, maybe one of these days. But it is a fantasy and it's following two girls. Their names are Willow and Sage, so it is a dual POV. They each live in different worlds and it follows their journeys to where their lives intersect, and they both each have their own little slow burn romance going on. There are all the creatures that you could imagine, and yeah, that's really it that I can give you without giving away too much about the book.
That was perfect. So that has been the most consistent things that when I feature an author that they struggle with is simply describing their own book because they could go on and on and on about it, and it's hard to like be concise, right? Uh,
Yes.
so what inspired you to write When the Portals Open? When did that idea come to you?
So I have always wanted to write. I've always loved books. When I was in elementary school, I was the librarian assistant.
Oh,
I grew up in the library at each of my schools, and I've just always loved stories. And I've always wanted to write my own. But whenever my kids were younger, I didn't feel like it was something I could actually do. I didn't understand. Now I'm looking back, I think it was perfect timing. But a couple of years ago, we moved into our new house, and I feel like my life was just finally at a point where I could attempt to do that. And
mhm.
so I sat down and thought of all of the things I had wanted to write about before and all the things I just want in a story. And I came up with two separate stories and thought, why don't I just push those two together?
Oh,
And
that's cool. Hmm.
that is how When the Portals Open was born, was from two separate stories that I wanted to write and just smashed them together.
Do you have any education in literature or anything like that in writing? Have you taken in classes or is this just you trying it for the first time without any kind of background whatsoever.
No formal background, but I did as much research as I could. I am very deep in AuthorTube. So
Oh,
I
okay.
would take Brandon Sanderson's online courses before he re-released and did the new ones this year. I used to watch the ones that he had recorded years ago and just watch those over and over and over again. And I did that again whenever he re-released them earlier this year. So I went out and found my own ways to learn. I have a bunch of craft books over here that I took everything that I could and just self-taught and picked and chose the things that I felt like would work for me whenever I was writing.
So AuthorTube, never even heard of it, but I mean, it makes sense because I feel like in this day and age, if you want to learn how to do something, you have so many resources at your fingertips. So AuthorTube, it's on YouTube apparently. So is that just education or is it more than just that?
It's more than just that. There's authors who do blogs about their writing process. There are people who keep you up to date on the industry, publishing news and what Amazon is doing and how the algorithms are working. And then there is also the authors who teach very like segmented pieces of each type or piece of writing. So character development, world building, everything. So you can find whatever you're looking for and really dive deep into that and learn more about that.
That's incredible. And how many people would want to learn from Brandy Sandy, right?
Yeah, right?
Like, he is an epic fantasy author. Like he's very well renowned. Like that's incredible. So did
Yes.
you have to pay or was it free?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay, so if you guys want to be a fantasy author, just go to AuthorTube and check out Brandy Sandy's courses because apparently it's free.
yes, yeah, he re-recorded them all earlier this year too. So it's his entire course from the college and live recorded and he uploaded them to YouTube.
That's that's so cool. That's what
Yeah.
a cool resource to use. Um, so so next question about your book. So which character or scene was your favorite to write and why? And that was something I'm actually really curious about because Sage and Willow are so different. So do you have a favorite or one that you resonate more with?
I resonate in some ways with both of them,
Yeah.
but I can tell you, Sage, she flowed out of me because she is very frantic and the way she speaks and her little rants that she goes on,
Yeah.
it's me. And my best friend was my alpha reader. She is huge reader, just like I am. And she always picks up on these things that I don't whenever I'm reading. So
Hmm.
I asked her to be my alpha reader. And when she got to that character, because it was a different layout than it is now, when she got to that character, she was like, no wonder you like her. She's you.
It's you. What are you talking about? So did you have a favorite scene as well?
Um,
Excuse me.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I do have a favorite scene
Okay.
because I tried to look at it as um they say kill your darlings. There's always going to be something that you're going to have to take out of your story that you love. So I
Oh.
tried to just treat each part the same, but I really did love the Sage and Finnan. I loved writing those two because I just feel like they're so cute and
Yeah.
their banter is fun.
Yeah, I really liked Arcto though too. I liked his perseverance when it came to Willow. I thought that I feel like both of the MMCs because there's two FMCs, there's two MMCs, but I feel like both of them are going to be swoon worthy. You know, they a lot of the readers are going to be like, oh, I like him as a book boyfriend, right?
Oh,
Uh,
I love that.
yeah. So I have a few favorite scenes. One, I love that the intro scene is just you just hit the ground running, right? I'll let the readers read it, but I just thought that was so cool because it's like oh, we're just heading right into fantasy. Here we go. I thought that was really cool. And then I had messaged you, but when there's a slapping scene, that
Yes.
was that was my one of my favorite scenes as well. It made me laugh out loud. Um,
But yeah,
but
when
you
you
guys will learn
messaged
about
me
that
about
later. What?
yes. Oh, you said we'll talk about that later because when you messaged me that, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, so next question. So, what challenges did you face while writing this book?
Um, the actual writing, just making myself sit down and write because I had been working on it for 2 years. Since 2023 is when I actually started developing the world and the characters. And I got a couple of chapters done,
Yeah.
and that was it until earlier this year when I
Wow.
finally said, I'm done playing around with it. I'm gonna do it because I want this story. It's all I was thinking about all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I wanted to dive in and just I told myself this is the year I'm gonna finish my story. So homeschooling my 3 kids and writing a book, making myself be okay with the fact that I was taking time for me and sitting
Hmm.
here at the computer and writing, I think
Hmm.
that was the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, are you working or are you a stay-at-home mom? So it sounds like you're a stay-at-home mom if you're homeschooling your kids. Yeah,
Yes.
just being able to carve out time for yourself. I feel like most moms or all moms probably feel this way where when we carve out time for ourselves, we feel guilty and that we're being a bad mom.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to think that we are showing them that it's okay to like prioritize yourself and to take care of yourself as well because I mean I'm assuming that this is some kind of outlet for you, right? It's a creative outlet. It's something that is just yours, right? It doesn't have anybody else. And so for you to be taking care of yourself in that way, because I'm assuming this has a huge impact on your mental health to be able to do this. And when we're taking care of ourselves, we are better off taking care of them. And
Yeah.
so I just for somebody to write a book while being a stay-at-home mom and educating their children is mind-blowing to me. I applaud you because that
Thank
is such
you.
a hard thing to do, but I'm glad. So how did you even carve out the time? What did you have certain times of the day? Was it like after they went to bed or was it just any free time that you could possibly find?
Sometimes it was after they went to bed, but my children are night owls like I am. So it's very hard for me to get any time in the evenings by myself. It was normally before they would wake up. I would get up early and I would write until one of them started coming in here, and then I would finish. And then I found the best thing for me that worked really well, actually, because I look at my writing as a reward.
Mm-hmm.
So I would set a timer and I would do a 30-minute sprint. And then I would get up and I would go do laundry or whatever. And then I would make it back over to the computer at some point for another 30-minute sprint. So I wrote it in 30-minute sprints, really.
I feel like when I set a timer like that, I'm more focused and can get a lot more done. Do you think that was true for you that you were able to write more and focus better on the writing itself when you set that timer?
Yes. Yes, because it was easier for me to tell the kids to like I'm setting a timer and it's only 30 minutes. So y'all get what you want to be doing, start working on that, and then please try and let me concentrate on this until my timer goes off. And it's only
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes. You know, you watch a TV show in that amount of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like y'all are like it did help me concentrate more, and I would have an outline of what I wanted to be working on that day. So
Okay.
it was easier for me to sit down and say, okay, this is the scene I want to write. This is what I want to happen in this scene, so that when I did sit down, I was ready to start doing that.
Okay, that's a good idea too. I like that. So what do you hope readers will take away from when the portals open?
I want them to, like you said, I think you said it the best, that it reminded you why you loved fantasy in the first place. And I definitely want that type of feeling. And for younger readers, even to start loving fantasy or people who are new to fantasy. But I also put a few elements in there that are near to my heart about everybody just loving each other and
Mhm.
being able to be different and accepting of one another. And I feel like I put that in there in a pretty simple way where all of these beings coexist together and they exist peacefully with one another. And the humans are, kind of the bad guys.
What an important message that is right now. I really loved it. And I think when I talk to, because I'm going to be promoting you this next month, and I think when I talk about your book, I'm going to say, I feel like it's a very accessible book to those who are new to fantasy. It's not, it's not super intense world building. And I think the world building that you do is introduced slowly enough that it's not overwhelming. But yeah, I think it's a fun read. It's a quick read, and it's not too intense world building, so that I think anybody who from avid fantasy readers to those who are new to fantasy, I think that it's accessible to everyone. So
Yay, that makes me so happy. And that's what I tried to make sure, like character descriptions and world descriptions were worked into what was happening rather than just info dumping it all.
yeah.
So I think that kind of helps to kind of put it where it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And so how many books are planned in this series? Do you have a solid number in your head, or not right
I
now?
I'm thinking three. I'm
Okay.
thinking three.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. And I always I feel I've said this in an interview before, but the first book is typically world building, character introductions. It's in the second book and the third book and so on and so forth that the story really takes off. And that's where you really start to develop a more intimate relationship with the characters. And I mean, when I read Throne of Glass, I felt like at the end of it that I was saying goodbye to my friends. And so, first book is like, okay, this is the setup. And then the second and so on is the story and the heart of the series, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about simply being an indie author. It's not a simple thing. It's not simple. But let's talk about your experience as being an indie author. So, what first inspired you to become an author? I feel like we kind of touched on this already, but do you have anything else you want to say about that?
Um, I mean, like I said, it's something that I've always wanted to do, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was something that I could do. And learning more about it made me decide whether I was going to be querying or going indie. And
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like everybody has their own answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
And doing my own research, it just leaned more towards indie. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's, especially right now, that's the perfect place to be.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any authors in particular that maybe inspired you along the way or who you admire or look up to? All of these ones.
All of them. No, so I mean, Brandon Sanderson, obviously, my youngest, his name is Calvin,
Mhm.
and I wanted to name him Kaladin, was
Oh,
what I wanted to name him.
yeah.
So I love Brandon Sanderson. Um, him and obviously our Sarah J. Maas,
Yeah, yeah.
but also the rom-com
Hmm.
authors. I feel like Catherine Sinner has been a, an inspiration for me too. I love her
Hmm.
characters and the way she does things. And I wanted my book to have a little bit of that feeling with the characters. And
Hmm.
I hate miscommunication tropes. and
Me too.
and I feel like Catherine Sinner doesn't ever really have those. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so I have plenty of authors who I just absolutely love. And J.K. Rowling.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
So first, my least favorite trope is the miscommunication trope. It bothers me so much. But Brandon Sanderson. I have only read Mistborn, right? That's what it's called, Mistborn, right? I've only read that one, but what is your favorite series? Because he's got quite a few, doesn't he?
Yes, and I haven't read all of them either. The Way of Kings is one of my favorites, and then he just did the whole big Kickstarter release for all of those, the four titles, and we did Tress of the Emerald Sea for one of our book club books, and that one is absolutely amazing too. I love that
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
I
And
haven't read Mistborn yet. I have it, but I have not read
yeah,
it yet.
yeah, it was really good. I don't know why I didn't continue with it, but I thought it was really good and really creative. I thought that magic system was so cool, so interesting. But I was going to ask you because I know you mentioned JK, but who was the first author? Because you said you've always loved reading. What do you remember the first book or first series that you picked up that you were like, oh my God, this is what I truly love to do. I love reading so much that sparked that initial love for reading.
I really feel like it was probably Harry Potter. I
Yeah.
mean, I did read, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and
Hmm.
those types of things, but Aragon and Harry
Hmm.
Potter when I was younger were really like the ones that I was like glued to them. I
Hmm.
would go, I mean, I remember driving to the midnight release party
Oh
of
yeah.
books
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
back when that was a big deal. So yeah, it really was. I feel like Harry Potter was the one that truly stood out enough for
Mhm.
me to stick with it my entire life, as I've always been.
Yeah, I feel like our generation, I think you're around my age, but I feel like our generation grew up with Harry Potter. I was around for every single book release, and I
Yes.
remember when the seventh book came out, and I was living in Hawaii at the time and I worked at a hotel. And I remember walking down the boardwalk and going past all the hotels. Everybody had that book out by their beach chairs. It was just, you could just see Harry Potter everywhere. It was like the most monumental book release ever was the
Yes.
final Harry Potter book. And then we had the movies come out. I think we had them come out like around the fourth book release or something like that. But it was
And
just
they were
such a,
at the same age as us.
yeah, yeah. So are
Yes.
you in your 30s?
I'm 35.
I'm 36. Okay. So yeah, I feel like it was just such a huge part of our childhood that we can't help but pinpoint our love for reading as Harry Potter. That was
Yeah.
the most prominent thing that I can remember is being involved in Harry Potter, going to those midnight release parties. I remember seeing, I never went to one, but I remember seeing in like news articles or on the news and in newspapers of like kids all up in their like Harry Potter gear with like their lightning bolts on their head waiting.
That was me. I even had my lightning bolt and my glasses, and I made my own shirts that said Mrs. Potter on it.
Yeah, that's so funny. And then I also a common thing because you also mentioned SJM. And I felt like Harry Potter helped me. It was a Harry Potter and Piers Anthony. He's another fantasy author, but that's what got me into reading initially. And then what brought me back into fantasy was SJM because I had
Mhm.
kind of gone through this phase of either not reading or then going to self help. And then I read a Kristen Hanna book and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And then I was like, I'm going to try this book that everyone's talking about, Akatar. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember I love fantasy so much, and this reminded me why. But did you have a similar experience of that where SJM kind of brought you back into it, or
It
why?
wasn't
Why do you mention
SJM.
SJM?
Around 2013 is when I really started getting back into reading. And it was mostly with audiobooks. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember Marked. I'm uh I'm gonna grab it real fast.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't care. Show me, show me. Oh my gosh, we're wearing like the same kind of outfit right now.
So the House of Night series.
Okay.
So this is what really got me back into like seriously reading back in 2013. I got these on Audible and I mean I just consumed them so
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then my
love,
husband with Nelson DeMille. So I started reading all of Nelson DeMille's books.
I've never heard of them. Is that,
Um, it's more thriller,
oh,
like
okay. Okay.
thriller mystery type.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm a fan of all genres. I read my first Frida McFadden and I was like, oh man, it's so easily consumed. Like I can read them so fast because it just keeps you so your curiosity peaked like the whole time,
Yes,
right?
and like on the edge of your seat.
Right, exactly. So I feel like we already touched on this a little bit, but my next question is, what is your writing process like? I heard you mention you would create an outline, you would do a timer, but is there anything else? So daily routine, tools, or habits?
So I found what really helped me because I spent like a year and a half running in circles and
Hmm.
just editing as I was going. And so I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
What I found at this amazing idea that I'm sure has been out there forever, and I finally found out about it, is called a zero draft.
Huh.
So you essentially go in and write to yourself instead of writing as the novel. You write to yourself, I want this to happen in this scene, and this to happen, and this to happen. And I was able to get so much farther into like a glorified outline of the
Mhm.
book. And once I had that, then it was like, we're off to the races because then I could actually say, okay, like I know now what's going to happen instead of having that huge weight of I'm going to write it the wrong way or I'm going to write this scene and it's not going to be like what I want really to happen. And I spent all that time writing the scene. But if you have that really in-depth outline, then
Hmm.
you can see what's working and what's not working and take out and put back in or whatever, and then you can go in and write. And so it felt a lot better to like get the majority of it off, like out of my brain and onto the
Right.
page, and then I could go in and make it sound nice and write it for someone else and not just notes for me.
There is so much forethought that goes into writing before you actually start putting pen to paper. There's just so much that goes into it. It seems
Yes.
overwhelming. How did you keep yourself from not getting overwhelmed? Because for me, sometimes when I have this huge task ahead of me, I almost don't even want to start because it seems like too much. And so, did
Yes.
you ever experience that? And how did you navigate it?
Yes, I absolutely experienced that. I do that with almost everything. If
Yeah.
there's too much laundry, it's not getting done
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't even know where to start. But so I had these little boards over here where I would take sticky notes
Hmm.
and I could organize my thoughts
Hmm.
and I could move the sticky notes around where I wanted things to happen. And I really think that zero draft helped me feel less overwhelmed
Okay.
because like I said, instead of sitting down and being like, oh my gosh, there's just so much to
So where
do.
did you hear about Zero Draft? Is it like a is it an app, a program or something like that? Or is it just
No,
a concept that people know about?
it's
Okay.
a concept. It's a concept.
Okay.
So everybody, there's planners and there's pantsers is what they call them.
Okay.
And planners like to have an outline and pantsers fly by the seat of their pants
Yeah. Yeah.
whenever they're writing.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I did a lot of self-educating on the writing process
Hmm.
and I was just kind of stuck. And then I watched a video about somebody talking about a zero draft.
Mm.
And we all have our own, names for our drafts. If it's
Yeah.
one and you change a tiny thing, it could be two, or it can just be one still.
Okay.
But they talked about the zero draft as a glorified outline. And I was like, well, that sounds like exactly what I need.
Yeah.
And that really, really helped with the overwhelm.
Yeah. I bet. I feel like I'm a planner and I need to have a very detailed map of where I want to go and what each day holds. So it sounds like you're a planner, not a pantser.
I am a planner. I am a planner.
I don't think I could, if I was a pantser, I feel like I would never get anything done. I would just be all scatterbrained and all over the place. I don't think I could
Yes.
do that. I feel like Sorsha, when I interviewed her, that I mean, she had a kind of outline, but she said she did everything like backwards, and I feel like she might be more in the pantser category than a planner, but teach their own. So what has been your biggest challenge?
As far as writing or just like the
Yeah, so just
whole
I guess just being an indie author in general, what's been your biggest challenge?
learning the industry, learning the things that you have to do before publishing.
Hmm.
So there are so many wonderful authors who are open books about everything that like their process and their checklists on what you need to do. But the industry also changes so much. Like I couldn't get a Goodreads page until I had my book up, but then you can't, everything is like overlapping.
Yeah.
So learning those little things that you have to do to make sure you're covering all of your bases
Hmm.
is that was like the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah. And again, to bring up Sorsha, sorry, but she said that someone had told her that writing is the easy part. And she said that it's turned out to be very true, and that everything that comes after the writing and in between publishing was the hardest part for her. So it sounds like that's kind of how you feel as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you have a team? Do you have support? Do you have someone who edits your book? Do you have someone who helps you with marketing? Do you have a team behind you, or are you primarily doing this all on your own?
Primarily on my own, but I did have my cousin. She's been an English teacher for 25 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
she helped me a little bit with the editing process. And then I had some other authors who were amazing. And I had one chapter that I was like, I really need to work on this one for sure. And they read through it and gave me notes. And I was able to take what they were saying and kind of apply it throughout the whole book.
Mhm. Okay.
And then as far as marketing goes, it's just me. I mean, I'm a graphic designer by and marketer by trade.
Huh.
Before I was a stay-at-home mom, but I designed my cover and did my interior formatting and everything like that, just because I'm already versed in Adobe, like
Okay.
Illustrator and InDesign and things like that. So it's pretty much it's me asking a whole lot of people for random favors when I
Yeah.
need them.
Yeah. But that's incredible that you were the primary marketing person. Thank goodness you have that background.
Yes,
Otherwise, you would have to hire somebody to help you to do that.
absolutely.
I feel like I might know the answer to this, but what has been your proudest moment so far?
I'm not sure. There have been so many. There have been so many. Last night was really, really cool.
Yeah, I bet.
Just like seeing everybody there. Even my kids, they got in line to buy a book, and I was like, "Guys, you live with me. I'll get you a book. I promise." But I think last night, like seeing all of my family and friends, and then people I didn't know there to to support me and everything, and getting to hand people the book and talk to people about the book. And one of my ARC team members is local, and she showed up, and I'd never met her. I got to meet her, and um that I think that was probably my proudest moment. I mean, I also sold out at Barnes and Noble,
I was
our
just going to
local
mention
Barnes
that.
and Noble.
Yeah. 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 So
Two
where was
days.
your release party at?
My release party was at a bookstore in Midland, Texas called Love
Okay.
Affair.
Okay, so you went to a local bookstore for your release party, but Sadie had messaged me yesterday, or was it the day prior, because they had put it out on their shelves early,
Early.
right? And then you were
Yes.
like, they've already sold 3 copies, and then they ended up selling out. And it's just, that must just be so surreal of an experience to be an indie author. You're at the biggest bookstore in the country, and they sold out. And
Yes.
who are you? You were right next. Gosh, I forgot what the picture had, but who were the authors that you were set up next to?
I know Red Rising was on there. They're like on the same table. I was like, oh my gosh. But I can't remember. There were so many like cool authors to see right there. And
Yeah.
it's all been such a blur because normally it's supposed to be one day and they put everything out early and the hardback sold out the 2 days before a release. And
Hmm.
then they put the paperbacks out. And I had people coming last night who said they went to Barnes and Noble to try and buy a copy before they came to the release and they didn't have any left. So I don't know if they also sold all the paperbacks because there were two separate places they were.
Yeah.
But that was so cool. I mean, just to see my book in my favorite section in the store,
Yeah,
the fantasy section,
I don't know how this works. Um, who did you publish through? Was it Amazon?
Ingram
Oh, go
Ingram
ahead.
Spark.
Ingram's Park. What is that? I know it's a publishing company, but
Yes, Ingram Spark. So I published through them, and they are an aggregator. So they will push your book to anyone who orders it.
okay.
So mostly Barnes and Noble online will pick it
Okay.
up, and Amazon
Yeah.
will put it on there. And then if other places want to start publish or like putting it on their websites,
Hmm.
it's different than having it in the physical bookstore. But
Okay.
they do push to online retailers. And if somebody wants it in their store, then they can order through Ingram Spark. So normally
Okay.
if a local bookstore wants books, you need to have it on Ingram for them to be able to put it on their shelves.
Okay. Interesting. And so they do all the contacting for Barnes and Noble. I was wondering, how did you get your book to Barnes and Noble?
I was annoying.
Hey, I have a
Yes.
book. I have a book. Please put it on Barnes and Noble's shelf. Well, it
Yeah,
looks like it paid off.
it did. It did. I went in there and I had a copy of my book in my backpack. And I'm sure they thought I was a crazy person ready to yell at somebody because I was like, is your manager here? And they were like, why? And I was like, well, I'm a
She's
local
not
author.
Karen. Okay, my name is Mercedes, not a Karen. Okay.
Yeah. But I said I'm a local author, and they were like, "Oh, okay." And then they were like super sweet and got me in touch with the right person at Barnes and Noble, and they ordered 5 copies right there. And then I got in touch with the person who normally does the buying for our area, and
Mm,
I emailed her and emailed her and emailed her, and I went to the store and I emailed her and just did my best for her to understand, like, hey, I really want this to happen and I will do anything that I can. Please put it on the shelves.
yeah,
And they did. So
that's so incredible. That's so amazing. I'm glad you pushed. I'm glad you pushed.
me too.
So, do you have any advice for aspiring authors?
Don't be afraid. Um, I was just saying last night, one of my favorite quotes is it takes an awful lot of time not to write a book.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
And I love that quote. And my other favorite is you can't edit a blank page.
Hmm.
So you can just put it on the page and later you can go back and you can make it sound how you want, but you can't edit anything if there's not something there. So
Right.
just get it out and then don't be afraid to go out on a limb like I did with Barnes and Noble. I went in person to every single bookstore within driving distance and took them a copy and said, this is for you. Read it. If you like it, let's talk. And so it's just going out on limbs and
Yeah.
reaching out to people. The author community is absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
Indie authors are so sweet. Everybody wants to help each other and has advice for each other. And so yeah, don't be scared.
Yeah.
Do the things.
And I feel like trusting yourself and trusting your product, you put your heart and soul into your book and it will resonate with other people. And I feel like, what is it? It's all the chances you didn't take or all the risks you didn't take. What's that quote? I forget it, but that's basically what you're saying. Like, you'll never know unless you try.
Yeah. And I always say the answer is always no if you don't ask.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So let's talk about where they can find your book.
Um, Mercedes Koefoed author.com. I
Okay.
have a page on there that shows links to every single place that you can order the book in all of the formats.
Okay.
You can also just look on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, Audible. I do have an audiobook available. And that was a super cool process. And I
Yeah.
absolutely love the narrator that I chose. She's great. So
So
but
that was actually a question a reader had was, will the book get an audiobook version and could it be Savannah Thomas? But who ended up being your narrator?
her name is Kim Churchill.
Okay. Would we know her from anything else?
She has done quite a few, but I haven't looked at her backlist in a while, but she has quite the backlist.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to
Yes.
check her out. Yeah, I feel like audiobooks are so convenient because you can listen to it while doing other things. So speaking of reader questions, I do have another one. What has been the hardest part of your indie author journey and what has been the most rewarding?
I think the most rewarding is hearing people say that like the certain things that they like about the book.
Hmm.
Even not, I mean, obviously hearing that they like the book in general is really cool, but
Yeah.
when they can like pick and choose little parts like, oh, I really like this banter,
Yeah.
or it was actually really funny, or the writing is nice, like
Hmm.
those little things I love hearing those things.
Hmm.
um and we've kind of gone over a couple of things that were like the hard parts, what like learning the entire process,
Yeah.
making sure I found a schedule that would work to actually write,
Hmm.
and doing that with my kids. I would also, I didn't throw that in there earlier, but I would tell them like, while I'm writing, why don't you write?
Yeah.
And so they all have their own little story ideas brewing
Yeah.
also.
Oh,
And
that's so
we're going to
cool.
be diving back into that, doing it all together while
Hmm.
I'm starting on book number two,
Hmm.
because they really enjoyed that process. And I would give them like little idea sheets and like,
That's
here's
so cool.
how, yeah. And we listened to the Brandon Sanderson lectures together in the car and stuff. So my kids are super book nerds, just like
Yeah,
me.
I
So
love that.
they like that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make you listen to this class with me, okay? Everyone's gonna gain knowledge from it, okay?
I'm just gonna say my daughter does get in the car and say, "Can we listen to Brandon Sanderson?" And she means the classes. So
Oh my gosh, not the books, the classes.
the classes. I want to
That's
listen to
so
his lectures,
funny.
please.
That's so cool. So, I'll post your socials in the video description,
Oh, I
but
forgot. Yeah.
oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead. No, 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 go.
At Sadie's Magic Bookshelf on Instagram is my
Mhm.
main one. And then
Mhm.
I am also on Facebook as Mercedes Koefoed and TikTok as Mercedes Koefoed. TikTok is not my forte, but I am trying.
I've given up on TikTok. It's a like I don't even want to post on there anymore. So any final words or messages that you want to give to any readers or authors?
Thank you. I
Yeah.
mean, thank you for the culture in the reading space. I feel like has been so wonderful for indie authors and people like you, Sarah, bringing us to light and bringing us in front of more people. I love how nice everybody is. And
Mhm.
that is one of the biggest things in my heart is kindness. And
Mhm.
when people can show that kindness, it's just amazing to me. So I
Yeah.
love all the authors who have helped me in every tiny little way that they did,
Yeah. And I
and all the
feel like,
readers who were willing to help too.
yeah, and oh, don't make me cry. I
Sorry.
feel like readers especially underestimate the power and impact they have on authors. Like you said, one of the most rewarding things is just hearing people's feedback on your book. And what I love about indie authors is that you can message them, and more likely than not, they're going to message you back, and you can develop a relationship with them. I mean, I love what I'm doing now because I'm learning. Not only am I learning so much, but I am developing these great relationships with you all, and I hope that I can get more attention on the struggles that you guys go through and also emphasize again the impact that we as the readers have on your guys' life, because we think like, oh, we do this review, it's not like maybe I shouldn't do a review because it's just like whatever, and it's like no, that review really helps and impacts the author so much, not only on Goodreads but also on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know Amazon is being kind of weird about their reviews and how long it takes to post and things like that. And sometimes they won't even let you post unless you're a verified purchase. So those ARC reviews don't always get in there and stuff. But any reviews on your socials, on Goodreads, on Amazon, they help us authors more than you understand.
Yeah.
They help so much.
Yeah. So before we leave, do you want to tease, do you have anything in the works right now? Do you have anything that you want to tease or?
So I hyperfixate on things. So it has been very difficult for me to try and start actually writing book two. I
Mhm.
do have some soft outline stuff going,
Nice.
but I was really trying to make sure we got through release and I didn't let anything slip through the cracks because there are so many tiny little things working. And
Oh
if you've
yeah.
never done it before and you hyperfixate writing, you're
Hmm.
I'm gonna let something fall through the cracks on the release side.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm very excited that now that release day has happened, I'm
Mhm.
gonna take a moment to um, process everything and continue pushing the book with
Mhm.
the normal marketing and the events that I have coming up.
Mhm.
I that is one thing that I have in the works. I will be at the Dreamers and Readers Festival
Oh.
in um, March of 2026 at the
Mhm.
Gaylord Texan in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
So that's going
Very
to be really
cool.
fun. But I am also starting on book two.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Do you know what it's called yet?
I don't.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Well,
I have a few ideas, but I feel like getting the book done first, then picking the name is
uh-huh.
usually a good idea.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mercedes, thank you so much for joining me on here and for sharing your story. And I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. You've done so well. I can't wait to see where you go. I think that this is going to be big. I think it's going to be big for you, and I'm really excited for you. If you all enjoyed what you saw here and you want to hear more from indie authors, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, happy reading.